Another Duggar family headline is now exploding across social media, and this time, the internet reaction has been especially intense. According to reports and online discussions, Anna Duggar is facing heavy criticism after details surfaced about a personal message she allegedly wrote to Josh Duggar discussing having fun in the bedroom. And almost immediately, the internet erupted. Some people called the situation shocking. Others described it as uncomfortable. And many critics online began accusing Anna of being completely disconnected from reality after everything that has already happened surrounding Josh Duggar's legal controversies and public scandals. But at the center of this story isn't just one alleged message, it's the emotional reaction people are having to what they see as a deeply complicated relationship that has remained under public scrutiny for years. Because for many observers, Anna Duggar has become one of the most talked about figures connected to the Duggar family saga, not because she constantly speaks publicly, but because people remain fascinated by why she continues standing beside Josh, despite years of controversy. That question has followed Anna for a long time now, and this latest headline has only intensified the conversation again. As soon as reports about the alleged message started spreading online, social media platforms exploded with debate. Critics questioned how Anna could still appear affectionate or emotionally supportive toward Josh after everything that has happened publicly. Some commenters described the situation as sad. Others called it deeply disturbing. And many online users began arguing that Anna appears emotionally trapped inside a belief system that prioritizes loyalty above everything else. Meanwhile, supporters of Anna pushed back against some of the harsh criticism. They argued that outsiders may not fully understand the emotional, religious, and family pressures influencing her decisions. Some people online pointed out that Anna grew up in an extremely conservative religious environment where marriage was treated as permanent no matter the circumstances. Others argued she may genuinely believe supporting her husband is part of her spiritual responsibility. And because of that, many people think her actions should be viewed through the lens of that upbringing rather than simple internet judgment. Still, the backlash has remained massive. Because for critics, the alleged message represents something bigger than just private communication between spouses. They believe it highlights what they see as a continued refusal to confront reality surrounding Josh Duggar's scandals. And that perception has triggered another huge wave of criticism, aimed at both Anna and the Duggar family culture overall. Online discussions have especially focused on the contrast between the family's strict public teachings and the deeply controversial situations connected to Josh over the years. For a long time, the Duggar family promoted conservative values centered around purity, modesty, and traditional marriage roles. Viewers watch them discuss discipline, morality, and religious responsibility on national television. But critics now argue those teachings created an environment where appearances and loyalty became more important than accountability. That criticism isn't new, but every new headline connected to Anna and Josh seems to bring it back stronger than ever, especially because people continue struggling to understand Anna's public loyalty. Some online commenters say they feel sympathy for her. Others say they feel frustration, and many admit they simply cannot understand why she continues defending or supporting Josh publicly after years of scandal and public humiliation. That emotional divide has turned Anna into one of the most polarizing figures connected to the Duggar family's story. To some people, she's a victim of an extremely controlling belief system. To others, she's someone actively choosing to ignore reality. And because Anna rarely gives detailed public interviews addressing these controversies directly, speculation continues growing every time a new report appears. Meanwhile, YouTube commentators, TikTok creators, and entertainment bloggers are all revisiting older Duggar family footage again. People are analyzing past interviews, rewatching reality show moments, and trying to understand how the family's once carefully managed image collapsed so dramatically over the years. For longtime followers of the Duggar story, this latest controversy feels like another chapter in an ongoing pattern. Public morality on the outside, private controversy behind the scenes. And according to critics online, that contradiction is exactly why public fascination with the family refuses to disappear. Because people remain endlessly curious about what was really happening beneath the polished television image viewers watched for years. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the online backlash against Anna, why critics say Duggar family teachings may have influenced her choices, and how internet reactions have become increasingly emotional and divided with every new controversy connected to the family. As the story continued spreading online, reactions became even more intense. Because once internet users started discussing the alleged message in detail, the conversation quickly shifted from simple celebrity gossip into something much deeper. People began debating the psychological and cultural environment surrounding Anna Duggar's marriage. And honestly, that debate has become one of the biggest reasons this story keeps dominating online discussions. Across social media, many users expressed disbelief that Anna could still speak positively or affectionately about her relationship with Josh after years of public controversy. Some commenters described her behavior as brainwashed. Others used words like conditioned or emotionally trapped. And one term especially started appearing repeatedly across platforms: delusional. That word alone sparked massive arguments online. Because while critics used it to describe Anna's continued loyalty, others argued the label was cruel and oversimplified a far more complicated situation. Supporters defending Anna say many people underestimate how powerful strict religious upbringing and social pressure can become inside deeply conservative communities. According to those commenters, Anna may have spent her entire life being taught that marriage must survive no matter what. Some even argued she was likely raised to believe divorce itself would be a moral failure, regardless of circumstances. And because of that, critics of the Duggar family culture believe Anna's decisions cannot be separated from the belief system surrounding her. That's where the conversation becomes far larger than one marriage, because online discussions are now focusing heavily on the broader teachings associated with the Duggar family and the religious world they represented publicly for years. Critics argue those teachings often emphasized female submission, obedience, and unconditional loyalty inside marriage. According to former followers of similar belief systems, women are sometimes taught to prioritize protecting the family image above their own emotional well-being. Some online users even shared personal stories from conservative religious backgrounds, explaining how difficult it can be to walk away from relationships when faith and family expectations are deeply connected. Those stories added an emotional layer to the internet reaction. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about Anna Duggar anymore. It became part of a larger debate about religion, gender roles, control, and emotional pressure inside strict communities. At the same time, other people online strongly rejected attempts to portray Anna only as a victim. Some critics argued she has had years to recognize the public reality surrounding Josh's scandals. Others said continuing to publicly support him sends a damaging message. And because of that, the internet remains deeply divided. One side sees Anna as trapped by lifelong conditioning. The other side believes personal accountability still matters, regardless of upbringing. That disagreement has created nonstop arguments across TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, and entertainment news comment sections. And every new Duggar-related headline seems to restart the debate all over again. Meanwhile, media commentators say this controversy also reveals how dramatically public perception of the Duggar family has changed over time. Years ago, the family was marketed as inspirational. Their television image focused on faith, discipline, and strong family values. Fans admired their lifestyle, networks treated them as wholesome entertainment, but now, online conversations surrounding the family sound completely different. Today, discussions are dominated by words like hypocrisy, control, scandal, secrecy, and emotional manipulation. That transformation has been shocking even for people who followed the family closely from the beginning. Many former viewers now say they feel the original television image hid serious underlying problems for years. And because Josh Duggar became connected to multiple controversies, critics argue public trust in the Duggar brand collapsed almost permanently. That collapse is a huge reason why stories involving Anna continue generating such emotional reactions online. People aren't just reacting to one alleged message. They're reacting to everything the Duggar family once represented publicly. For some observers, Anna's continued loyalty symbolizes the dangerous side of extreme image-driven religious culture. Others see her as someone desperately trying to preserve stability for herself and her children despite overwhelming public pressure. And because nobody truly knows what private conversations inside the family look like, public speculation keeps growing more intense. Meanwhile, social media creators continue revisiting old Duggar clips and interviews searching for signs viewers may have missed years ago. Some people believe the family's strict public structure may have hidden deeper emotional issues beneath the surface. Others argue reality television itself helped create unrealistic public expectations around the family's image. Either way, one thing has become impossible to ignore. The Duggar family story has evolved far beyond reality television. It has become a cultural conversation about power, faith, public image, and private behavior. And with every new controversy, public fascination only grows stronger. In the next part, we'll talk about how this latest backlash could affect Anna Duggar's public image moving forward, why the internet remains obsessed with the Duggar family years later, and how critics say the family's carefully built reputation may never fully recover again. At this point, the biggest question surrounding Anna Duggar may no longer be whether people agree with her choices, but whether the public will ever stop analyzing them. Because every time a new Duggar-related controversy appears online, Anna instantly becomes one of the central figures in the conversation again. And this latest headline only intensified that reality. What makes the public reaction so emotional is the fact that many people no longer see the Duggar family as just reality TV celebrities. To critics, the family has become symbolic of something much larger. A culture built around image management, strict control, religious authority, and the pressure to appear morally perfect in public no matter what happens privately. That's why reactions to Anna remain so intense. For many observers, she represents the emotional center of the entire Duggar saga. Some people genuinely pity her, others feel anger toward her, and many feel both emotions at the same time, because the situation feels incredibly complicated from the outside. On one hand, critics argue Anna has repeatedly chosen loyalty over accountability despite years of public controversy surrounding Josh. On the other hand, supporters believe she may have spent most of her life inside an environment where questioning her husband or leaving the marriage was never presented as a realistic option, and that conflict is exactly why the internet cannot seem to stop debating her decisions. Meanwhile, media analysts say public fascination with the Duggar family continues for another major reason. The collapse of the perfect family image happened so publicly. Millions of people watched the family rise to fame. Viewers saw smiling interviews, carefully organized family routines, and speeches about morality and faith. For years, the Duggar brand was built around the idea of having answers for how families should live. But over time, scandals shattered that image piece by piece. And according to many online commentators, the contrast between the polished public image and the controversies that followed feels impossible to look away from. That contrast keeps pulling people back into the story every time a new headline appears, especially younger audiences on social media platforms. TikTok creators continue breaking down old interviews, YouTube commentators analyze family dynamics, Reddit discussions revisit years of Duggar history, and entertainment blogs keep publishing updates because public interest remains extremely high. Some observers believe the story now functions almost like a warning about celebrity culture itself. They argue reality television often presents carefully edited versions of people's lives, while hiding deeper problems behind the scenes. Others say the Duggar controversy demonstrates what can happen when public image becomes more important than transparency or accountability. And for critics of strict religious systems, Anna's situation has become part of a larger conversation about female autonomy, emotional conditioning, and social pressure inside conservative communities. That's why reactions online feel so personal and emotional. People aren't just discussing celebrities anymore. They're discussing belief systems, power structures, marriage expectations, gender roles, and the complicated psychological impact those environments can have on individuals over time. At the same time, some people argue internet culture itself has become overly obsessive with the Duggar family. They believe constant public speculation about Anna's private emotions crosses ethical lines. Others say social media has turned deeply personal family pain into entertainment content for millions of strangers. That criticism has also grown louder recently. Because while online audiences remain fascinated by the story, there are still real people involved behind every headline, and that tension between public curiosity and personal privacy continues surrounding nearly every Duggar-related controversy now. Still, one reality seems undeniable. The Duggar family's public image has changed permanently. Years ago, they represented wholesome reality television to millions of fans. Today, the family name is more commonly associated with scandal, controversy, hypocrisy allegations, and nonstop internet debate. And according to many observers, rebuilding that original reputation may now be impossible. As for Anna Duggar herself, public opinion remains sharply divided. Some people believe she deserves compassion and understanding. Others believe she deserves criticism for continuing to stand beside Josh publicly. But regardless of where people stand, one thing is clear. Every new Duggar headline reignites the same larger conversation all over again. Another shocking Duggar family headline is now making waves online, and the internet reaction has been intense from the very beginning. According to reports circulating across entertainment media and social platforms, Josh Duggar allegedly sent NSFW letters to his wife Anna just days before his sentencing connected to child sexual abuse material charges, and almost immediately after the report surfaced, public reaction exploded. Some people described the alleged letters as disturbing. Others called them completely inappropriate considering the timing, and many online critics argued the situation once again highlights the deep contradictions surrounding Josh Duggar's public image over the years. Because for longtime followers of the Duggar family story, this headline isn't just about private letters between husband and wife. To many people, it represents something much larger. The continued collapse of the moral image the Duggar family spent years building in public. For years, the Duggar family promoted strict conservative Christian values through reality television, interviews, books, and public appearances. Viewers constantly heard messages about purity, modesty, family discipline, and moral responsibility. Josh himself was once presented as a family-oriented Christian husband and father, but after multiple scandals and legal controversies, public perception changed dramatically. And now, every new headline connected to him seems to trigger another wave of criticism online. This latest controversy became especially explosive because of the timing mentioned in the reports. According to online discussions, many people were shocked that alleged sexually explicit or suggestive communication could happen during such an extremely serious legal situation. Critics online immediately began questioning Josh's mindset during that period. Some commenters accused him of showing a lack of remorse. Others argued the alleged letters reflected emotional detachment from the severity of the case surrounding him. Meanwhile, social media platforms filled with reactions almost instantly. TikTok creators began analyzing the headlines. YouTube commentators revisited old Duggar interviews. Reddit discussions exploded with thousands of comments debating Anna Duggar's continued loyalty. And entertainment blogs quickly turned the story into another major Duggar controversy dominating internet discussion. At the center of the public reaction once again is Anna Duggar. Because every new report connected to Josh inevitably brings renewed attention to her decision to remain supportive of him despite years of scandal and criticism. That ongoing loyalty continues dividing public opinion heavily. Some people online say they feel deep sympathy for Anna. They believe she has spent most of her life inside an extremely conservative religious culture that strongly emphasizes female submission, marital loyalty, and preserving the family unit no matter what. Others believe she may feel emotionally trapped by religious expectations, family pressure, and fear of public judgment. But critics see the situation very differently. Some argue Anna's continued public support has become increasingly difficult to understand after everything that has happened. Others say each new controversy raises more questions about why she continues standing beside Josh despite overwhelming backlash. And because Anna rarely speaks publicly in detail about these situations, internet speculation continues growing every time another headline appears. Meanwhile, critics of the Duggar family culture say this controversy again exposes what they view as hypocrisy beneath the family's public teachings. For years, the Duggars promoted modesty rules and strict moral expectations, especially surrounding sexuality and gender roles. but according to critics online, the reality behind the scenes appears drastically different from the image viewers once saw on television. That contrast is exactly why public fascination with the family remains so intense. People continue revisiting old reality show clips, interviews, and speeches, trying to understand how such a carefully managed public image eventually became connected to so many scandals. And according to many online commentators, the gap between the family's public message and private controversies now feels impossible to ignore. Some media analysts believe the Duggar story has become larger than reality television itself. They argue it now represents a broader cultural conversation about power, image management, religion, and accountability. That's one reason why even deeply personal headlines like these alleged letters quickly become national internet discussions, because audiences no longer see the Duggars as ordinary celebrities. To many people, they symbolize the collapse of a once highly influential moral brand. And every new controversy seems to add another layer to that collapse.